staying with that thought, let's because this ties in to my story. So let's go on to this next story because I think this is pretty interesting. There was a story called "Perennials, Not Millennials, Will Trigger the Next Wave of Talent Retention." Efforts. And that was the title of an article by Corin Pertil in Quartz magazine last week. Good magazine. The headline kind of says it all. Us older folk, that would be like me, but not necessarily Mike, are starting to outnumber the youngsters, and employers are taking note. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, from 1994 to 2024, it's about 30 years, actually it's exactly 30 years, workers 55 years and older will go from being the smallest segment of the U.S. working population to the largest. There's a lot contributing to this. Older people are healthier and able to work longer, and coupled with that, many either have to or want to keep working. So it isn't unusual to have employees working long after Social Security retirement age, into their 70s or even older. So you're seeing this growth, basically, nutshell, the older people are staying on the jobs longer, so your workforce is actually getting older. It's actually even more pronounced in other societies. Japan has this incredibly much older workforce, much so than the US does. So while not all the oldsters are excited about working until they drop, there are benefits to employers, according to the author. As age diversity on work teams goes up, so does productivity and performance. As Pertil points out, research from the Millikan Institute Center for the Future of the Aging and Stanford Center on Longevity found that older employees took fewer sick days, showed stronger problem-solving skills because we're smart, and older, and much more sage. Not only that, the older people were more likely to be highly satisfied at work than younger colleagues. Most likely because, hey, they're just glad to be alive. You wake up in the morning, woohoo! I'm still breathing. Let's go to work
and making money.
put my teeth in, and hell, I'm good to go. All right. All this has led to some interesting programs being done by employers specifically for the purpose of retaining these older employees and compensating them and keeping them on the job longer. For instance, according to Pertil, CVS Pharmacy allows older employees working in states that have cold winters to temporarily transfer to stores in warmer states during the winter, which actually works out good because those warmer states, let's say Florida, all the old people go to Florida. As your folks know, I want to go to Miami.
That's right. They do.
And they do.
That's warm.
And of course, a lot of older people, they use CVS pharmacies. And now you got these older employees at CVS pharmacies, maybe in Minnesota during the winter, and they go, hey, I'd love to work in Miami during the... And so CVS is accommodating that.
That's really awesome.
And so it's kind of a win-win, right? So... by the way, there is a benefit to the economy as well. The longer people work, the longer they are paying more in taxes, unless they're drawing down maybe on, perhaps on Social Security, maybe they're not collected right away. So the benefit to the economy is also there as well. So I just thought this kind of ties into what you're saying earlier, because you do have this one segment of the workforce, which is the older group. Some of them are returning to work. So it's not just that they've been working and they continue working. You've got older people who maybe for financial reasons or because they're bored of being retired are now joining the workforce, and maybe they're joining at these lower level positions that you're talking about, but they've made a good working wage. They're not going to join for $7 an hour, right? If you're going to hire me and all my skills, you're going to pay me for it.
Yeah, and I mean, you go where the jobs are. I mean, this is also not necessarily just you want to work because you want to work. I mean, many times you need to work, and you're working because you need to continue to earn a salary. So these jobs that are available for your perennials, right, as the term was, are really important. They are an important part of the economy. And if you think about it, if you're going to live on average, if you are 70, okay, you probably got a pretty darn good chance of living to be 85 or 90 at that point. If you look at the actuary tables, right? So I mean, if you retire at 70 and you're going to be looking at 20 years of retirement, that's a long time to have to make your retirement last.
Right.
So people are now looking at this as an opportunity to kind of come in and out of the workforce. Some people kind of pseudo-retire in their 50s and 60s, maybe go back to school, get some more education, with the plan that they're going to work longer. So it's not like you're going to just have one chunk of retirement at the end of your life. Maybe you want to travel for a year or two, and you want to take some time to pseudo-retire again in your 50s or 40s even, right? It's a different environment. It's a different work environment. And that's what we're saying in both of these stories is that the assumptions that we had about what work is and what the economy is aren't really necessarily holding water anymore. So it's really more flexible, and it's got to work for the workers as well as for the companies and the broader economy.
Exactly.
That's really the takeaway, I think.